invite the Director of NUSKIN Global Research and Development, Dr. Shirley.SCIENCE, to come and share with you. So Dr. Shirley joined NUSKIN as a scientist in 2013. Over the last 12 years, she has been involved in new product development and research for all the Pharmanex and Azure products that we love, such as the Wispan, the Reset or Meta, Collagen Plus, and of course, the Edgelock TRME. So without further ado, let's give our warm Southeast Asia and Pacific welcome to Dr. Shirley. Dr. Shirley, hello.
Hi, thank you for that great introduction, Fiona.
Hi, Dr. Shirley. I hope you are doing great and we can't wait to hear from you.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really excited to share this afternoon or this morning for you guys and talk about gene expression and how it impacts weight management.
Dr. Shirley, we are right now looking at your slide, but it is not in the presentation. Perfect. Okay, it works right now.
Is it good?
Thank you. So, Dr. Shirley, the time over to you.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm really excited to be here and talk to you guys. And hopefully you'll get to learn some new things today. So that's always exciting. So, we're really unique here at NUSKIN in that we have applied gene expression to weight management, and I'll talk about that. And what really differentiates us from others that, traditional strategies to lose weight are typically exercise more, eat less, using bad diets, and potentially taking slimming pills. And the real issue with all of these is that it's really challenging to do for a long period of time. And so if you think about energy balance and weight management, it seems easy, right? It's energy in, energy out. That means you have a stable weight. If you're consuming more energy than you're putting out energy, you're going to gain weight. If you have less energy in, you're consuming less and you're being more active, that will result in weight loss. But we know from the science that is coming out is that it's not that simple, unfortunately, and that the food that we eat, it does result into energy in, but unfortunately, not all calories are the same. So we know from the research that it takes our bodies more energy to break down protein calories than it does carbohydrate calories, for example. How our bodies respond, we're all very unique in that we have different neurological, hormonal, metabolic responses. So all of our bodies respond differently to the foods we eat. And then if you think of energy out, is energy more than exercise? Yeah, it is. So if we look at this graph, we can see that about 10% of our body's daily energy results from that thermic effect of food, or how much energy does it take you to basically break down the foods that you're eating in your body. 20% is that physical activity, so that energy out piece, but a huge part of our energy out is that resting metabolic rate. That's that energy that you're burning, just sitting there listening to me talk. And that's 70%. And what's been shown to be the biggest driver of that resting metabolic rate, how much energy you're burning, is related to your fat-free mass or your muscle. And basically, the more muscle you have, the more energy you're burning throughout the day. And so it's truly very important. One of the most important things during weight management is that you want to maintain your muscle. And so if you look at traditional strategies to lose weight, many result in significant muscle loss, which long-term that can cause to the weight coming back on and having less muscle, so you're burning less energy. And so we definitely want to look at strategies that can help with maintaining that muscle. And so, what we've talked about, are all calories the same? No. And we wanted to identify ingredients and strategies with age-lock science and great science published on different ingredients to look at, well, how can we manage the calorie intake better? We also wanted to find ingredients using our approach of weight management science and combining it with gene expression on helping with how does the body respond to the food we consume. And then if we look at energy out, we also wanted to combine this gene expression science with how can we increase the resting metabolic rate. And so through our research on looking at different ingredients with weight management and gene expression, we are going to focus on these 5 important areas: meal replacement, positive mindset, appetite control, metabolic support, and lean muscle support. So, we really are unique here at NUSKIN in that we do have our age-lock science, as I've already mentioned. So what does that mean? So with age-lock science, we like to think that we go to the source of the problem, right? Competitors might just be kind of masking those signs of, different issues that you're having, where we like to go to the source of the gene expression, specifically that's impacting this area of weight management. And so I think a great example is to think about twins, right? So they are born with the same genes, but their gene expression can be very different. So one twin might eat very healthy, be very active. Another twin might be more sedative, not as active, and might eat not as healthy of foods. And so their gene expression is very different in their bodies. And so when we talk about gene expression, it's all about how are those genes being expressed based on the different things that we're consuming and, just, how active we're being every day. And so it really is this integration of the science where we're integrating gene expression science along with weight management science that really gives us our unique edge in that it's age-lock and it's this gene expression based weight management. And so it's really exciting in that we were able to screen ingredients that were effective for weight management, and part of their mechanisms is through impacting gene expression. And this allowed us to, make some really great formulations that we're going to go into further detail on. And so this slide is just showing you basically all of these ingredients and categories that we're going to talk about more today. So basically multiple clinically studied ingredients. So we have ingredients that have been shown to be important for metabolic, lean muscle, and appetite support. We have ingredients that have been shown to be important for appetite control, positive mindset, lean muscle support, and meal replacement. And so now we'll go into more detail about each of these different ingredients. So if we look at that beginning of weight management journey, there's some really great ingredients to help with that time. And it's a difficult time, right? And that you're making all these changes. So we have prickly pear cactus fruit, we have red orange fruit extract, and we have pomegranate juice powder and saffron extract. And so each of these ingredients have been shown to impact different areas of weight management, including things like metabolic support, appetite control, lean muscle support, and positive mindset. So let's look at some of the studies with these specific ingredients. So if we look at red orange extract, it has been shown in preclinical studies to impact adipocytes. Specifically, it can make less adipocytes and make them smaller, but even more important, we can see that their gene expression changes. So with the red orange extract in this preclinical study, it was shown that significantly reduced the body weight gain and fat accumulation, but it also impacted the gene expression. So in the lean animals, you can see that the gene expression is very different from the animals that were fed the high fat diet. But if you took the high fat diet along with the red orange, you can see that it's very similar to those lean animals. So impacted the gene expression to be healthier. If we look at pomegranate, you can see that in this randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study, that in obese subjects that took the pomegranate, they had a significant reduction in body fat compared to the placebo. In another study with saffron, this was a study that was 8 weeks long, and these individuals actually had a change in body weight after just 2 weeks of taking 177 milligrams of saffron extract compared to placebo. And it was, they also saw that they had less hunger and they had a reduced need to snack between meals. And then there's prickly pear fruit. So this is a fruit that's been consumed for hundreds of years. And, prickly pear has been studied and shown to benefit body silhouette, weight management, antioxidant properties, and even helping to reduce that excess water. So you can really see some of those quick benefits. So the next area we want to talk about is having that healthy response to the foods we eat and helping with appetite control and satiety. These areas are really important when we're thinking about weight management strategies. And so the first ingredient we'll talk about in this category is white mulberry leaf. And so mulberry leaf has been consumed with Asian traditional therapies for many years. A lot of times it's actually the tea leaves are used in teas. And it's just important to note that not all mulberry leaves are created equally. So there's different species of mulberry. There's red, there's black, they're white. We use white because they are more well studied. The specific mulberry extract that we're going to talk about, it's standardized, and we ensure that it's being used at an effective dose in the studies that we'll talk about. And so how white mulberry leaf actually works, the mechanism of action is that it is standardized to an active ingredient, and I'll call it D&J. And basically it has a similar structure to the sugars and the carbohydrates that we're eating. And so how it works is that it competitively inhibits those carbohydrate digesting enzymes. So basically carbohydrates and this molecule D&J, they basically bind to the same spot on the enzymes that break down carbohydrates in our intestine. And so basically through this competition, it helps promote this healthy response to the high carbohydrate foods because it basically slows down that response of breaking down those carbohydrates. And so this is just a study showing just that. So this was in subjects where they came to the lab 2 different times, and each time they consumed different amounts of table sugar or sucrose, along with a placebo or along with the white mulberry leaf extract. And you can see that the placebo group had a much higher response to the physiological biomarker after consuming that sucrose compared to the group that also had the mulberry. So they had a healthier response to the foods that they were eating. And the next ingredient in this category is guar gum. And so guar gum is actually a soluble fiber. It's also known as galactomannan. And this specific enzyme treated guar gum that we're going to talk about, basically it has a natural enzyme process to help with solubility. So even when this particular guar gum is mixed with water, it really maintains a nice viscosity in the liquid. It doesn't become too thick, even though it's a soluble fiber, and it helps with satiety. So this is another really important aspect to how your body is responding to food, in that it helps you feel more full, and it does this through fermentation in the gut. So many fiber sources, you have to consume really high amounts and they're rapidly fermented, which can cause some negative attributes like gas and bloating, where guar gum does not do that. And so this is a study just showing that when you consume the guar gum compared to placebo, that you see significant improvements in feelings of satiety and a significant decrease in the perception of hunger, along with a reduction of snacking by calories. So the next area we want to touch on within weight management is stress and snacking and mood. And so one specific ingredient that's been shown to impact mood and really help with positive mindset during a weight management program is a saffron stigma extract. And so saffron is the spice that's used, throughout Asia and the world. And basically the stigmas in the flowers, they're basically very regulation of neurotransmitters, helping with inflammatory balance, and even helping with antioxidant. And so in this specific study, this was in 60 healthy overweight women. And basically they took the saffron extract for 8 weeks. And basically their calorie intake was left unrestricted during this time, and they kept a snacking diary. And what they saw is that the snacking actually was cut in half after this 8-week period. And they also saw a small amount of weight loss, around 1 kilogram. And so just showing that saffron impacts mood and it helps you not be as stressed. And so you eat less, you snack less when you're going through a weight management program. The next area we want to touch on is this very important area of basically impacting muscle and resting metabolic rate. So as we discussed earlier, one of the most important things you can do is impact the maintenance of the muscle while breaking down the fat in your body. And so 3 really great ingredients have been shown to do just this: the moringa or drumstick leaf, the turmeric, and the curry leaf. And so for these ingredients, many different herbs were screened for their impact on seeing what ingredients are most effective at inhibiting fat accumulation and basically breaking down fat inside the cells. And so many ingredients were screened, and basically the drumstick leaves, the curry leaves, and the turmeric rose to the top. And not just individually, but they also looked at, well, what happens when you combine them together and in different ratios? And so what the research showed is that this ratio of these 3 ingredients really was the most effective at inhibiting the fat accumulation in these fat cells. And that's the blend of ingredients that was then brought forward into clinical studies. And so in this clinical study, and the results that you're seeing in the graph, this was in men and women. They were overweight. They were consuming a lower calorie diet and walking for 5 days a week. And what we saw in the 16-week study is that the individuals that were taking the herbal blend, they saw a significant increase in weight loss compared to that placebo group. But what's even more important, as we've been hitting on this throughout our talks, is that they actually had a maintenance or an improvement in their lean body mass, where the placebo group actually lost that lean body mass or muscle. And again, the body fat was actually significantly reduced, while the placebo group about stayed the same or slightly increased. So lean body mass was preserved and it reduced body fat, which is really important when you're trying to lose weight. And so there's a number of other ingredients that have also been shown to impact the resting metabolic rate. And this can include things like capsaicinoids and capsaicin fruit. This can help increase resting metabolic rate, burning that energy just when you're sitting here, supporting lipid oxidation and helping with satiety and hunger. Another great ingredient is green tea. So green tea extract can help with energy expenditure, help with thermogenesis, that burning of energy, and just helping with overall body composition. and citrus bioflavonoids, or another really great ingredient that have been shown in studies to really help increase that resting metabolic rate, that energy again used by the body at rest. And so the fifth area that we want to touch on is this area of protein and meal replacement. And so if we look at the ingredients in a meal replacement, of course, you have the protein from a high quality source like whey. You have vitamins and minerals that are supporting the different functions in your body, and then fiber and fats to really help with fullness. And again, this can really help with this lean muscle support, and just having an easy way to get high quality protein at a meal. And so with meal replacements, one of the main concerns during weight loss is really just adherence to making sure that you're getting low calories, but also making sure that you're getting the right calories, right? Making sure you're getting enough protein. And unfortunately, a lot of times when we reduce calories, we don't get enough protein. Where meal replacements are really helping you, making it easier to follow, to have that calorie restriction, but also making sure you're getting protein and essential vitamins and minerals. And so clinical studies have actually found that in weight loss programs that use protein replacements, that they actually have greater weight loss at 1 year compared to weight loss programs that don't use meal replacements. So it really is important to make sure that you're getting enough protein. And I think this graph really shows it really well. And that, as we've talked about, it's really important to make sure that we're maintaining muscle during weight loss. And so if you consume a diet that's lower in protein, you have quite a bit of loss of muscle mass during the weight loss portion. If you have higher protein, you lose less muscle. But the real magic happens when you actually consume higher amount of protein and you're exercising. You're basically losing all fat and hardly any muscle. And, we're not talking about a crazy amount of exercise. This was looking at about 30 minutes of walking 5 days a week and doing 30 minutes of resistance training 2 days a week. And so what we hit on there was really the science of, just weight management in general, and how these different ingredients and blends of ingredients can work together. And now what we want to talk about is this gene expression work and the gene expression analysis that we've done on these different blends of ingredients. And we've done preclinical studies that we'll touch on first, and then we also did a clinical study that I'll touch on in a few minutes. And so the preclinical study was completed in mice. This was a 28-day study. And so basically we had the animals that were split into different groups. So we had a portion or a group of the animals that were fed the high-fat diet. We had a group that was fed that same high-fat diet, but they also received that blend of mulberry leaf extract and guar gum. Then we had the high-fat diet along with a blend of saffron and vitamins B6 and vitamin D3. And then we had the high-fat diet along with that blend of moringa, turmeric, and curry leaf extracts. So at the end of the study, tissues were taken from each group and basically analyzed for changes in gene expression and gene pathways. And so we actually took many different samples or tissues, but the results that we're going to look at today, we look at the mulberry leaf guar gum mixture in the liver tissue. We look at the saffron mixture in the brain tissue, and then the moringa, turmeric, curry leaf in the muscle tissue. So let's first look at the results that we got with the mulberry leaf and guar gum. So in this heat map, I know there's a lot going on. So I just want to direct your attention to those top bars, the teal or the blue. Those columns underneath that grouping are the high-fat diet animals. So each column actually represents a different animal. And then you have the orange group, which is basically that high-fat diet along with the mulberry leaf extract or guar gum. And so you can see that the genes that were impacted, there was around 500 significantly differentiated expression genes. And you can see that they're very different, right? These genes that were significantly different in the liver tissue, they have a very different profile if you're looking at those animals that were also fed that mulberry leaf and guar gum. And if you take it one step further, you can actually look at not just individual genes, those rows going across the heat map, you can actually complete a gene expression pathway analysis. And what this does is actually looking at groupings of genes that are involved with pathways that are involved with different mechanisms throughout the body. And so what we found for this particular blend in the liver is that based on the gene expression pathway analysis for this group fed the mulberry leaf and guar gum, there was a down regulation or a decrease in the genes involved in fat buildup in the liver. And we feel like this is a positive thing because fat buildup in the liver is linked with excess calorie intake beyond, your energy needs. And, this is important for appetite control and satiety and to really have that healthy response to the foods that we're eating. So it's really important that we're seeing these changes in the fat buildup in the liver and those genes that are specifically addressing that. So the next blend that we wanted to look at was saffron, and specifically in brain tissue. We saw really interesting results. So for this particular blend, we saw around 400 significantly differentiated expressed genes were found. And again, you can see in the heat map that the expression is very different, right? The group that received the saffron extract along with the high-fat diet was very different in their expression in these specific genes compared to the high-fat diet. And when we dove into the pathway analysis for gene expression, we actually saw that there was an increase or an upregulation for genes that were involved in learning in the brain. And we feel like this is an important pathway to be impacted because appetite is a learned response in the brain and it can affect your eating behavior. Specifically, we know it's important because eating behavior is extremely important and impacted by stress and your mood. So the next blend that we wanted to look at was the moringa, the turmeric, and the curry leaf. And specifically, we wanted to look at the muscle tissue because as we were talking about earlier, it's really important to make sure that you're maintaining that muscle tissue in your body. And so what we found again with this blend, we actually saw over 5,000 specific genes that were significantly different between that high-fat diet group alone or the high-fat diet along with that blend of the moringa, the turmeric, and the curry leaf. And again, you can see those profiles split very nicely in the heat map, and that we actually saw an increase or an upregulation in the genes that were involved in the fatty acid metabolic process. And we feel like this is important because fatty acid metabolic process, it involves the metabolism that actually breaks down fats to create energy. And, we know that it's important to really break down fat and maintain muscle during weight loss. And that's specifically what we were able to see with this blend of ingredients in the muscle tissue. So the next step after we completed the preclinical study was looking at a human clinical study. And so in this particular study, we actually had over 60 subjects that took an eating plan. They followed the exercise guidelines, and they did this for 12 weeks. And the blends are the ingredients that we've already talked about. So they took a blend of the prickly pear fruit, the pomegranate, the red orange, and the saffron. They also took a blend of the mulberry leaf extract and the guar gum. They took the ingredient saffron. They took a blend of the turmeric, moringa, and curry leaf extracts. They also took a meal replacement. And so basically, these subjects had blood samples that were taken at baseline and then taken at the end of the study after the 12 weeks or 90 days. And we actually looked at the difference in the gene expression at the end compared to the baseline. And what we found was really interesting. So in this heat map, again, you can see the bar across the top. And so each column underneath a teal or the green is baseline sample. And then in the same individuals, we then took blood at the end of the study, and those are the orange columns. And so each row across is a different gene that was impacted. And so you can see that very nicely, the individuals at the end of the study, they tend to group together compared to the baseline samples, just showing that gene expression in the blood of these subjects that were, receiving these different treatments for weight management have very different gene expression. And, when we dove in and looked at, the different genes that related to the areas of weight management, we found that specific genes were impacted that were related to things like metabolism, hunger, and even appetite. So we were really excited about these results. And in this study, not only did we look at gene expression, but we also looked at, how much weight did the individuals lose? And we actually found that 98% of the subjects did see weight loss after just 12 weeks. And we're really excited that we will be presenting these results at a conference this summer, a nutrition conference. And so together, what these results are showing is that, we have a really unique program where we really do have this genetic gene expression-based weight management program that we're really excited about sharing with you the science. So thank you so much for your time today.
So, Dr. Shirley, wow, the gene expression clinical study is really, really impressive to me. I can't stop, to study, to read the charts there. But leaders, no worry, if you have questions on that, right? Feel free to reach out to our Marcus trainer. They can actually explain very well also to you how to read those charts, right? So I think one good thing about the weight management that NUSKIN actually put together is that, we are not just looking at one solution, but in fact, we are looking at a holistic solution to weight management from appetite control, how to maintain or support our limb muscle to make sure that, we can actually support the resting metabolic rate, because all those are very important factors so that we can have a healthy and efficient or successful weight management. So thank you so much, Dr. Shirley, for R&D team to put all this together and, formulate the products that actually give us a very effective weight management system. And of course, leaders, I believe that the powerful scientific data and also the clinical study will continue to set us apart and strengthen our competitive edge as we had developed our most comprehensive and healthy gene expression-based weight management system based on our more than 20 years of experience in these weight management. And in fact, I think Dr. Shirley will also agree with me to say that not many companies will actually invest and spend much resources to conduct clinical studies and research on the ingredient blends and also the product formulation. Agree with me, Dr. Shirley? Yeah, so I think that is something that, not just me as a NUSKIN staff, but I believe for our leaders are something that we appreciate a lot, the efforts that being done by our R&D team. And all the clinical studies that we done come along with all the positive results, right? Will actually further support our sales leaders to promote and share about our weight management products. Okay, so thank you so much.